Sure. There's a simple model of health which can even go back to the time of Hippocrates, who said that there were, at that time, two primary causes of illness. One was nutritional deficiencies. Now, obviously, the cells don't receive the nutrients they require to function optimally, and the health that cell declines and symptoms appear. The second cause Hippocrates spoke about was exposure to environmental toxins. Obviously, if we're exposed to a poison or chemical, which we either breathe in or we consume, eat, or it penetrates through the skin, then the body's accumulated toxins over years and decades will eventually create symptoms. So if we use that second cause of illness with the idea of a empty bowl. So we're born in a state of health, most of us are, and our bowl is empty. Let's call it our constitution. Some people have a strong constitution, others have a smaller constitution, which means as this bowl fills slowly with these toxins and the residues get stored in our tissues, we begin to experience like we're a little bit off, a tiny bit of brain fog, not quite as much vitality, etc. But when the bowl, symbolically speaking, becomes full and begins to spill over the edge, meaning the body cannot tolerate any more toxins coming into itself, those are creating some symptoms, more severe symptoms. And that's usually when people might consult their physician to figure out why they're experiencing particular symptoms, whether it's arthritis or headaches or chronic fatigue. And most of the time at this initial stage of the spilling over of toxins from this bowl, not much is really going to show up on lab testing of any kind. It's not until this continues on for maybe 4 or 5 years or longer until finally cells have become so overwhelmed with toxins, are so nutritionally deficient or susceptible to infections that then you'll start to see lab tests showing up with abnormal results or pathology, and therefore at that point, 5 or 10 years later, the doctor can then give a diagnosis or label about what systems in the body have become most affected by this chronic toxicity. There is one other model which might be helpful to include as well, and that is the idea of the Libra scales. And when we're born in a state of health, these scales are tipped strongly to one side, this being the side of everything that helps to be beneficial to our health, and this side being all which is detrimental to our health. So as we grow older, and if we're not eating a lot of nutritious foods, this side becomes a little bit less strong or heavy. And if we are exposed to chemicals and things, then this side becomes the scale starts to tip to one side. So this state here is one of health and vitality. This state here is the beginning of symptoms, mental and physical symptoms, until finally it seems like there's one last straw that's placed on this side that causes the scale to really tip strongly to the other side, and now we're not well at all, and maybe this might represent also pathology in some way. So what is the approach of trying to get a person back into this balance of health? It is, one thing is to try to load lots of nutrients on this side, but often this side is so strong that it's difficult to get it to tip back in the direction towards health. Supplements, nutrition, all those things are going to be helpful, but they'll hardly ever really get it to turn back in the other direction. So therefore the idea is, let's unload from this other side the residues and toxins and, let's say, stress and lifestyle that is contributing to this imbalance, and then we can really see some major shifts in people's health. So that's kind of in a nutshell, two models that might help people understand. Our approach here is providing the nutrients, IVs, dietary changes, etc., but also unloading the residues and toxins, etc., from the other side to bring back health. Kind of back to the core idea of this innate wisdom within people that is always trying to and has complete capacity for the restoration of our health. All we have to do is provide it with what it needs, nutrients, etc., and to take away the burdens and traumas that have caused this vital force, this wisdom, to not express its full health and full capacity for the vitality that we have. innately within us. I truly believe that everyone has a core of health within them that's waiting to be supported. It's not like we have lost that core of health. It's just overburdened by various layers of toxins within the body. Uncover those, remove them through purification therapies, and this light, this wisdom will start to reveal itself once again with health. Of course, it does take time. We know that cells in the body rejuvenate. Old ones die off, new ones come to the forefront. So it does take time to heal, but people begin to feel the vitality and the health rising within them, even though they can still see the shadow or the glimmerings of their symptoms. They feel that their health and vitality is being restored.